Hello people, good to have you back on today's episode of our book review. I am happy to be back after such a long break. I'm so sorry. I have just had so much on my plate I needed to clear. But I'm back, and thankfully I came with a new book. It's titled You Can Be President or Anything Else. The book is written by an author named Bob Moore. You would love it because you know I don't ever bring you boring books. So today we'll talk about a couple of chapters as much as we can, because I would not like for us to rush the book. So the author started out by telling us a story about himself and the challenges he experienced early in life when he started his tertiary education, college. Yes. So he said he got into school, and then his first semester or first year he had 5 courses to take, and he passed just 2 and messed 3 up. He was depressed, was going to give up, like school is not for me, I just look for something else to do with my life. But in the middle of all of that contemplation, something struck him. He realized that out of 5 he passed 2. It means out of 5 things that I have, or out of 5 things I was given to do, I did 2 well and didn't do so well with 2. It means there's still something good about me. There's hope that I can be better if I become deliberate about certain things. So this was how he decided, he made up his mind that he was never going to fail a course again in school, and that was the last. He never failed 1 course in school. He went ahead to become a teacher and realized that even fellow teachers, people of every age, grade, and people from every level of life were experiencing depression for some reasons. People felt like they were nothing. They felt like they couldn't be anything. He went on to be like a mentor to these people, started encouraging his students and colleagues and everyone, as much as he could. So chapter 1 is titled Acres of Diamond. And by the way, before I kickstart, I would like to say that all the stories contained in this book, the author has assured us that they are all true life stories. So please, as you listen to these stories, be encouraged by them and see the lessons that you can learn. Perhaps you can relate to some of the stories because they may be familiar. Maybe you find yourself in familiar or similar situations. See how you can draw lessons from them and progress with your life. So Acres of Diamond, chapter 1. 6 students or 6 young people would walk up to a pastor named Russell Conwell, requesting of him to teach them because they desired to go to college but had no money. So he thought to himself, he said, if these 6 students or these 6 young people really want to go to school and cannot make it, it means there are also a lot of other people out there who desire to get an education but cannot afford tuition fee. So he took it upon himself to go out seeking funding to build a school for these special people. He went around giving seminars, giving talks, blah blah blah, and that went on for 5 years. And the author said he couldn't raise up to $1,000. He got frustrated. Let's just throw in the towel. This is done. So one day, I told us he's a pastor. One day he was taking a walk in the church garden, or taking a walk around the church premises, and he noticed that the grasses on the church's side is not looking as lush and as radiant as the grasses on the other side or on the other people's property. So he had to question his gardener. What's up, man? What's going on? Why is our lawn not doing so healthy? What's going on? You'll be shocked what the gardener's response was. So in the gardener's defense, here's what he said. I guess it doesn't look so good to you because you are comparing it to the grass across the street. It seems we always look at how good someone else's grass looks and wish it were ours rather than caring for our own. This singular statement from the gardener was a turnaround for the preacher. Remember, he's a preacher, so he is already gifted in, preaching. This became a sermon for him. He preached it for a couple of years, traveling everywhere, giving this teaching on acres of diamond and encouraging people to look inward and fish out for, their God-given ability and resources, and, use those resources and abilities to make a living for themselves rather than look at other people's life and compare that with them, with their own life. And this was how he raised he was looking for just $1,500,000. Yes, that's what he was looking for initially, to build this school he wanted to build for these challenged people. But guess how much he was able to raise? $8 million. He was able to raise $8 million just by focusing on his inner strength, which already was preaching. Initially he was going around seeking money, but now he focused on his inner ability and was just preaching one topic for 7 years and made 8 million. 8 million naira. 8 million, I said naira. Sorry, I'm Nigerian. And he made $8 million. Imagine the person you will be. Imagine the results you will get if you focus on your God-given strengths. We have everything that we need to do so well already resident in us, but we are bothered about other people's progress, comparing ourselves with these people when we're supposed to look inward, discover our strengths, and use those strengths to fetch ourselves fortune. I'd like to close chapter 1 by reading a few things from this book. It says, riches are not to be found somewhere else. They come to the man who minds his own acres, who makes the most of his own abilities. So, if you want to be rich, focus on your inner abilities. What are those things that you do, flawlessly? What are those things that you can do almost without supervision? What are those things you can do even if you are not being paid? Those are the things you should focus on, because those are the things that have the capacity to make you a fortune. Chapter 2 is titled From Prisoner to All-Star. I really love the story that, is contained here, so I'd like to read it for us. But before then, I would like to read a very popular adage or proverb, a Chinese proverb actually. It says, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Now here's the story. Say a young black man grew up in some of the worst conditions in a poor neighborhood in Detroit. He had little guidance except what he got from other boys he knew who ripped off things and enjoyed drugs. He was arrested at the age of 12, caught robbing the local A&P store. At 15, he was arrested trying to break into a safe in an office. Later, as an adult, he was sent to jail for taking part in an armed robbery of a neighborhood bar. So much jail time for a young child. So he said he was not a model prisoner, meaning to say he did not live an exemplary life in the prison. He was just there continuing the way of life that he grew up to know. Now, what you must also understand here is this is the environment he found himself. He didn't make that choice, but he was influenced by environmental factors. You get? So sometimes the path that people tread or the path that we find ourselves is not as a result of our own choices. Sometimes we are compelled because of environmental factors. So most times we think we're helpless because, this is what we have known all our lives and we think that this is what normal is. So while he was still living the regular life in the prison and doing all sorts of and all whatnot. An older person who has been almost all his life in prison and would die in prison has seen him play baseball in prison. They allow all those kind of games there. So he played baseball in prison, and the old man told him something. He said, "You have talent, a chance to make something of yourself." The old man told him, "Don't blow it." These 3 words were enough for him to make a very sharp U-turn, and that was how his life changed. So the young man thought about it, made a decision. He was in prison, but he suddenly understood that he had the most important kind of freedom a person can have. The freedom to choose what he would do with the rest of his life. He went ahead to be a very celebrated baseball player. Remember the title of this book, You Can Be President or Anything Else. It first of all begins here. I have to decide. This is what I want to be, and these are the things that I do not want to be. When you decide, you are expected to take necessary actions towards the fulfillment of your dream, of your goals, or of your vision. So this young man exercised the greatest tool a human being has, which is the tool of choice. That's the most powerful tool that a human being can possess. This tool has the capacity to cause a lot of transformation for a person, a community, or a nation. I'll close chapter 2 by saying this. No matter how hard our parents, our friends, or the society tries, they cannot help us make the choices that will shape our lives. The power to engage that tool lies within us. Engage the tool of choice. Make the choice that will benefit your future, that will benefit your immediate society, that will benefit your family. But don't forget that you are the first beneficiary or the first victim of the choices that you make. Today is day 1 for this book, so I wouldn't want to really stress us so much, But I would like to close this video today by saying that we need to look inward. We already have what it takes to be president or anything else, like the author said. And then we also need to make a choice to be something else, to be president or anything else that we want to be. So harness your skills, the one in word. Don't look for how people will help you, how the government cannot help you. Your family can do, they can try at least a little bit. Your friends cannot really help you. So you have to be the one to stand up and step up for yourself. Make a choice today, make a decision today to start looking inward, harness your skills, your God-given abilities, and see what becomes of your life. I love you as always. 3 because you are special. Bye.